I'm sorry I zoned out for a few seconds here. I was just texting with Mayor Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa. There is a crazy story about right now. Okay, sure. Let me just send her. So hang on. Call now is great.
What's happening?
All right. So I'm sorry. A story just broke about Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa, and she was on a fishing trip, and you're not going to believe what the hell they caught. Hang on, she's calling right now. Mayor, it's the MJ Morning Show Live. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We are fabulous. So I kind of checked out of the show for 30 seconds while I was answering your text, and so the crew was talking. They were trying to figure out what I was doing. I'm trying to get the mayor on. All right, this is a crazy story. We'll get back to the housekeeper story in a minute, but you're available now. So a story is broken this morning that you were on a fishing trip, and it is an unbelievable story of what you caught.
All right. Some of the people were calling it square grouper.
Yes,
that's the name for it. Yeah,
yeah.
By the way, Froggy, say hi to the mayor.
Hello, Mayor. This is Froggy.
So, Mayor, Froggy taught us about square grouper a long time ago.
That's funny.
All right, so where were you and what happened?
Well, we go down to the Keys every year, my family and I, for mini season. One of my son's birthday. So we go down there and go fishing and then scout out the lobster. And then on Wednesday and Thursday are the actual mini seasons. So we were out fishing in the Atlantic on Sunday for mahi and got into a bunch of mahi. Coming back, and my younger brother said, hey, there's something floating in the water. And quite often there's triple tail or other fish under any floating debris.
Yep.
So the closer we got, I'm like, oh, boy. So we got up close, and it had been in the water for a while because it was a split in the plastic covering. I said, well, that's cocaine.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Over to the boat and lifted it on, and then, of course, my family's panic-stricken, like, oh, my gosh, what if it has a transmitter in it? And I said, relax. I said, if there's
Pablo Escobar is going to come after you?
Right. I said, if there's any tracker and the battery's long dead, that thing's been floating for a while. So as we got into the no-wake zone, I just called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and then gave them the address of where we were staying. So they came out and met us. We had marked it on the Garmin, on the GPS of where we found it, for whatever that's worth. But anyway, found out later it was 70 pounds, and they said the street value was $1.1 million.
What? Oh, this is crazy. You're out fishing, and you see $1.1 million of floating cocaine. Now, granted, you are the former police chief for the Tampa PD. You're now, of course, the mayor of the city of Tampa, my city, and thank you for your hard work. But were you nervous at all in having possession of $1.1 million of coke?
No, not at all. Having worked narcotics for so many years and working on interdiction task forces and so forth, you really don't even look at those things as if they're real, if you know what I mean. Like, I've been on initiatives before where somebody calls up and says, hey, can you have one of your undercovers meet somebody up at this restaurant and pick up a duffel bag from them? And you get back to the office and there's like $300,000 in it in cash. Those kind of things that it's just, that's the work that you do. So it didn't really, I wasn't nervous. I didn't think the cartel was coming after it, but I think my family was a little bit nervous.
You ever see Narcos on Netflix?
Yes.
That's a great
series.
It is awesome series. So you're suddenly in the middle of a Narcos, episode.
Right.
Now,
Right.
How long, Mayor? Folks, we're on the phone with Mayor Jane Castor, who on a recent fishing trip, they saw floating debris. Turns out they hauled in a $1.1 million street value, 70-pound haul of cocaine floating in the Keys. How long were you in possession of the cocaine before the Monroe County Sheriff's Office came out?
Not long at all, because I called when we got to the no wake zone, if anybody's familiar with Vaca down through there, and went up the canal, the house that we were staying at, and I called them as soon as we hit the no wake zone. So it was probably 10, 15 minutes before we made it back to the dock, and then just probably 5 more minutes. And Monroe had called the local police department, so officer came up and he goes, well, I'm going to have to call somebody else. So he went out to his police car, and I tell you, it wasn't 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes at customs. A couple of customs officers showed up, and they picked it up and walked off with it.
Did anyone know that you were the mayor of Tampa, former TPD chief?
Well, I did tell the first officer that came in. I don't know if you guys have ever been mahi fishing, but they bleed a lot. So I told the officer, I said, don't be alarmed. My family sort of looks like a crime scene right now, because you've got the fish blood on the boat and on your shirt. But anyway,
the whole place is bloody, and you got $1.1 million of cocaine.
Right. What's suspicious here?
Really.
Let's ask ourselves, really.
Oh, man.
But so anyway, the customs guys came and picked it up. But it was funny because, there's a lot of people go down for mini season. So everybody on that canal, a lot of different vacationers. So the next day we came in from scoping out the lobster holes, and the neighbors yell over, "Hey, you guys got any more square grouper?"
That's great. So credit to the Tampa Bay Times. We saw the story. It just got published. I guess the story just came out this morning. Had the Tampa Bay Times get a hold of the story? How'd they find out?
I'm not sure, because I didn't really tell anybody. I mean, clearly we sent photos to family members, and those kind of like, I get my sister-in-law, well, there goes our vacation home, those kind of just jokes back and forth. But
because it just got published on the Tampa Bay Times website 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm not looking for that kind of attention, but it was pretty funny. I did tell the officer that came in, I did tell him, I said, look, I retired from the Tampa Police Department. He had actually retired from up north and come down, but I didn't mention anything about being the mayor.
Yeah, you left that part out.
Anyway, great story. Awesome story. Mayor Jane Castor, City of Tampa, found a 70-pound package of cocaine, street value $1.1 million, recently floating in the Keys.
Yeah, so funny, right?
So, Mayor, you worked
all the places.
Yep.
Mayor, you worked in narcotics for a long time in Tampa Police.
Yeah, I did. I worked in narcotics on the street level, and then up in mid-level interdiction, as a detective and as a supervisor.
Okay, what happens to the drugs now? Federal agents have them.
They'll take them, and then what we did in our area, clearly this is a federal customs agency, but what we do locally is they're all weighed, everything for evidentiary value, and put into our secure evidence lockers, and then depends on how much you have, but every 6 months to a year, a group of detectives will take them out to the city incinerator and watch them being destroyed.
Yeah, typically it's burned. Mayor, I know you got a busy day ahead. Thank you so much for coming on the MJ Morning Show with this breaking cocaine news.
All right, you guys have a great day. Nice talking to you, MJ. Nice meeting you, Froggy. You guys enjoy.
You as well, Mayor.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Don't cook the square grouper. That's my
really.
advice of the day.
Never.
Thanks a lot.
See you. Bye.
No way.
Look at that.
That's great.
That's
Oh,
great.
the mayor rules.
Yeah, so somebody tipped off. She doesn't know how the Tampa Bay Times got the story. Tampa Bay Times literally just published this
Like a half an hour ago, a little over half an hour.
37 minutes ago now.
We just talked about Square
Yeah,
Grouper.
we talked about it numerous times.
That's crazy.